We back. Tuesday, Tuesday night. Starting the podcast off. Thank you, Craig Allen, Fright Night Picks for the T-shirt. I love the T-shirt. Sick ass shirt. I won it in one of those Twitter contests where, excuse me, where you retweet whatever and then pick your name. Pick my name. That's pretty cool. I like the shirt. I also listened to a couple episodes that he had posted on YouTube, and I liked him. I like what he had to say. We got a couple of the same opinions on some things. We were talking back and forth on Twitter. But he's a cool guy, Craig Allen. That's a cool guy. Follow Fight Night Picks on YouTube and iTunes. Um, Support right there. Main reason for tonight's video. There's no UFC this weekend. I was mistaken. I get my days mixed up. I just want the UFC to be every weekend. Hopefully they change that with the ESPN. There's fucking UFC every weekend, maybe. But not right now. So, UFC 229. We're gonna skip over 228. We'll talk about 228 next week. 229. I was noticing that a lot of people were saying that they weren't building the card as they should. They weren't putting this big name fighters on. And then I think it might have been Chael or somebody had brought up the argument that Conor and Khabib are going to cost a lot of money in the main event for this fight. So it's best to get people that don't necessarily cost as much, as bigger names. And I have a perfect example of this because I looked up the pay scale for UFC 200, what everybody made for UFC 200. And then I also made a pay scale for UFC 229. I left off, I think, 2 or 3 fights. But I just rounded up, and then with the other one, with UFC 200, I only took the main card, and the results were crazy. I'll name the fights too, with Tony Ferguson versus Pettis, OSP versus Dominic Reyes, Derek Lewis versus Volkan, which is, what's that, 1, 2, 3, Waterson versus Felice Herrig, Sean O'Malley versus JQ, Kianos, I ain't saying that fucking name no more, Sergio Pettis versus Garcia Formiga, Lena Landsberg versus Yanni Kuditskaya, and Gray Maynard versus Nick Lanza. That's 8 fights. I think there's maybe 10 or 11 fights on the card. So out of 8 fights, or maybe there's 12 because I didn't count the Conor McGregor fight, and I didn't name 2 or 3 of them. But so out of 8 of the 12 fights, that's only and what I did to get their pay scale is I took their last fight's pay, and no matter if they renegotiated their contract or not, I added $50,000, no matter what, just so that even if some people did, some people didn't, it would even itself out, So I added $50,000 to everybody, okay, and the total for those 8 fights was $2.35 million, okay. So round up 2.5 for the 3 fights that I missed off. 2.5 million. Okay. Conor McGregor's probably going to cost you a cool 10, 15, 20 million. Boom. Okay. That's why they're keeping it really low, They're keeping their costs really low there. With 2.3, 2.5 doesn't seem like a lot. But when you look at the main card of UFC 200, Amanda Nunes, Miesha Tate, Brock Lesnar, Mark Hunt, Daniel Cormier, Anderson Silva, Aldo Edgar, and Cain Velasquez, Travis Brown, they made $6.1 million off of 5 fights, 3 less fights. They made a whole almost $4 million more dollars with 3 more fights, or 3 less fights. Because they could distribute it evenly there. They distribute it between those stars, Then the prelims, when I looked at the prelims, I wasn't going to write all the prelims down because they were like 50, 35, 25, yada, 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 yada. So what I was surprised to see is I agree with the main card not having as high as expenses as Anderson Silva, Cormier, or Aldo Edgar, where Aldo made 500 and Edgar made 3. You know, I mean, it's $800,000 in the fourth to last fight of the night. 800,000. You know what I'm saying? Fourth to last fight of the night would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,000, 500. Bad example. Fuck, I landed on Aldo. Go to the third to last fight. Cormier Silva, 500,000 apiece, $1,000,000. OSP Reyes, third to last fight, 150,000. 150,000 between the two. You get what I'm saying? It's like I don't know. It's just way different to see that. And what I was saying earlier is, excuse me, but what I was saying earlier is that what surprised me is that I didn't know that a lot of these guys, like last fight, Formiga made like 100,000, 110,000, something like that. So I wrote him down as 150. I didn't know that. Sergio Pettis made like 50, 70, something like that. So I wrote him down for 100. So, I mean, Gray Maynard made 100, so I gave him 150. Lentz made 125, I gave him 150. So these guys on like the prelims make money. Kunitskaya made 100 to fight Cyborg on short notice. You'd think they have to at least give her a little something, 150. Yeah, Kunitskaya is like way down in the prelims on that card. I don't know. I guess they're just distributing lower now. Maybe it evens itself out, but it seems like what I didn't do is what I should have did before I came to the table and presented everybody with this problem is I should have did the entire card, everybody in the entire card, and presented how much each card would make. But I don't think they're done with UFC 229. When I looked at it, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the main card, maybe 3 on the prelims, and then 3 on the fight pass prelims. But that's just short. That's short, man. Normally it's like normally it'd have 2 or 3 fight pass prelims, 5 or 6 prelims, and then 4 to 6 fight main card. So I mean, what's that? I mean, we're doing 4 fight main card, 4 fight is 8. I mean, I guess the same amount. It's just way more main card and then evenly spread between the prelims. I don't know, man. I'm confusing myself a lot here, man. I don't know what this is about. I think I'm on to something. I'm gonna keep looking into it, but it's crazy, man. It's definitely crazy. I know, definitely with the prelims, they could have easily got close to another million with UFC 200. I don't know if they're gonna push another million on to the rest of them. Like I was saying earlier, what's kind of got 10 to 20 million. Khabib's got. If I had to guess, Khabib was probably not getting paid $1 million. He's probably getting paid maybe 800,000, 500,000, something like that. Before this comes into this fight, he'll probably make 3 to 5 million, which, to be more realistic, Conor will probably make 10 to 12. So, I'll have to do the math. I'll add that. I'll say 15 and 5, just to round up. So 22.5 is what we're gonna go with for. I'll write it down right now. 22.5 million for 229, unless they add more fights. But I think that's going to be significantly low. We're already at 6.1 on the main card. And I didn't look at the other rest. I didn't see how many. That's a 5 main cards. So if we're saying 11 fights, there's 6 other fights. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they're spending a lot more money on this card, even though it's not bigger names. So imagine if they did put the big names on there. Could be a good point to see. I wouldn't want to be WME right now, man. They got sold this. They went over to ESPN to try to become more like a sport. I understand every move they made, from when they went to Fox to legitimize themselves to sell it to WME, when they went to not Sports Center, ESPN, because they want to make it more of a sport. I understand. They want to see the top 10 knockouts. You know what I'm saying, on channel 26 on basic cable and shit. You know, that's what they want to see. Um, it would put more fans in the seats. It would sell more tickets. I've seen the fucking, I think it was like 6,000 or something like that they sold in Nebraska. 7,000. Something mad small. I just seen it, man, but it was really small, and I compared it immediately because I was like, is that normal? I feel like the one that I went to was way bigger than, let's see right now. Attendance 6,409 people in attendance. That's nuts, man. That's nuts. Let's go back 1 week to the Staples Center. Attendance 17,000. Well, let's see what the fucking attendance was when I was there. That doesn't sound right. I feel like now it's gonna be small. I'm just gonna look stupid again, man. I went to a small event. 8,000, 8,400. That's a whole 2,000 more people. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. I got to see Anthony Pettis catch a rib injury. You know, it's funny. Anthony Pettis catches a rib injury, loses Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier keeps winning. Anthony Pettis keeps winning. Dustin Poirier's next fight's against a guy who hasn't fought in that long. Uh, Anthony Pettis' next fight is against a guy who hasn't fought in that long, but last time he fought was going to fight for a number one contender spot. Last time this guy fought, he fought in a non-title fight against a star, and then that's it. It's like Anthony Pettis kind of like looped around you there. Like if you lose to Nate Diaz and Pettis beats Ferguson, all right, let's just throw some scenarios around. Pettis beats Ferguson. Poirier loses to Diaz. Diaz, let's say Conor wins or loses against Khabib. He's fighting Diaz next, if he wins or loses. So Khabib wins. Anthony Pettis fights Khabib for the title. Khabib loses. Anthony Pettis fights Khabib for the number one contender spot. Either way, number one contender spot will not involve Dustin Poirier unless he can beat Nate Diaz. And even if he does, he still might have to fight Anthony Pettis again to see who's going to fight. Or maybe they'll just give it to him first at that point because he already beat him. But I'd like to see the fight again before it happened, honestly. He caught an injury, man. I was pissed. We were hyped up that whole night. Long ass card, man. Hyped up from Carl Robinson, the first fight, man. That shit was hype from jump. We got to the last fight. Everybody's restless, going crazy. And then they rolling on the ground, bro. Just like, it was like, like I don't know if I could. I was on the other side, so I didn't see if like he tapped on the side or what he did. But referee stopped. It was all like, what happened? What happened? Rib injury. It turns out I had to look. They didn't even tell us. Like I feel like you go to an NBA event, you know, some guy gets hurt. You don't look down and be like, oh, what happened to that guy? You know, and then you just leave like, oh, that guy got hurt. Like, nah, they say like, don't they, before you leave, like in the NBA events, they be like, oh, he's getting walked off, update, yada yada. They give like an update, whatever, you know. So I mean, if I can get on the Wikipedia and see it was a rib injury, when I get right out, why can't they just tell us he obviously had a rib injury, or like knockout by obvious injury? Not like just knockout. Like he didn't look like he knocked him out. He wasn't even punching him when the ref stopped it. It was crazy, man. Great night though. I had a great time in Virginia that night. Norfolk, Virginia. We was up there. Um, this guy, Fight Night Picks, is from Canada. Shout out to Canada. But that's it, man. I thought I was onto something. I thought they were gonna make less money, but I feel like now that I put the numbers on paper, uh, the 22.5 that we came up with here is gonna oversurpass pretty much anything that I could think of as far as maybe another Conor McGregor fight I can go look at, maybe 202 or 197 or something like that, whichever one was higher. We'll see, man. We'll see. I'll look into some more shit. I got some more research to do, but we out for tonight. I'm not too sure what's coming up this Saturday. Definitely nothing. Next Tuesday, we'll get a better idea. We'll be talking about 228 that's coming up because that'll be coming up on the following Saturday, so it'll be a little bit closer. We'll put our predictions in next Tuesday. I know I said I'd do it today. I was mistaken. But next Tuesday, we'll do that. Another shout out, Craig Allen, Fight Night Picks. Everybody go follow him. It's a real cool guy out there in Canada. More shout outs. Fucking Robin Black, always. Evil Eddie from Evil Eddie, my man Evil Eddie. That's a cool ass guy. Pure Evil MMA. Cool dude right there. Who else we got? We got mad guys, dude. And the MMA community on Twitter is very abrasive, man. Everybody that I've encountered with the RZA, bare knuckle boxing guy, he's a real nice guy. A lot of people, man. Everybody that I've tried to come in contact with, I ain't never had nobody be a dick besides fucking James Lynch, that fucking prick. But whatever, float your boat. I'm just trying to meet people. That's it. Get my ideas out, work for somebody till I can own something, but try to get out the field I'm in. That's all I'm trying to do. This guy James Lynch, don't be sharing your fucking videos. Go fuck yourself, man. We got the same last name, punk ass motherfucker. But my bad. Fucking YouTube gonna throw me off of that shit now. Don't do that. Don't do it, YouTube. Please don't do it. I'll take it back. He's still a punk, but I ain't gonna call him a motherfucker. We out, man. See you next Tuesday. Holla Barbecue Pit. What up?